Welcome to Photoshop editing, and this editing video is going to be about how to create a vignette. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that we're all on the same page. So let's go to the option bar, find Essentials or whatever this drop down says on your computer, and make it Essentials if it doesn't say that, or reset Essentials if it does. Okay, so now what we have here is a file that I opened. What I want to do is create a vignette that kind of gives it this like black frame. The first thing I'm going to do is duplicate my layer just so that I can use that to kind of toggle back and forth and see what my changes look like. I'm going to hide this locked background layer so it doesn't interfere with our project. Next thing I'm going to do is go over to my toolbar and choose the rectangle marquee tool. The rectangle marquee tool is shared with other marquees for selection. Make sure you have the rectangle one selected. Notice that the option bar changes. The thing that I want to do is figure out what pixels, the amount of pixels that I want to use for feathering. And that's going to be determined based on the file size. So go to Image, Image Size, and notice your file. My document size tells me that this is 36 inches by 24 inches, which is a pretty large file. So this 250 pixels is a good size. If I had a smaller file, I would use a smaller number in my feather. If I had a larger file, I may use a higher number. What this feather does is it rounds out the 90-degree points on my rectangle. So the next thing I'm going to do is draw out a frame for my picture with this marquee. And notice that as soon as I draw it out and let go of it, the angle rounds out. Okay? And basically what's happening here because of this feather is that the points are going to be transparent. And you're going to see that this transparency is going to kind of gradiate through to the main subject of the picture. The next thing I need to do is inverse my selection. So if I go up to the menu bar, pick Select, and then press Inverse, now what's selected instead of the middle part of the picture is the outside edges. Again, I'm going to go over to my layers. Notice that the background copy is selected, not the background lock layer. And then I'm going to find the Delete key on my keyboard and press it. So now what we have here are these gray and white boxes. These indicate transparency for Photoshop. And notice how we have a complete transparency on our corners. And as we gradiate into the center, our transparency gets less and less and less until it's 100% opaque, meaning not see-through at all. So at this point, what I want to do is get rid of the marching ants. I can do that by Control D to deselect. Next thing I'm going to do is come over to my layers. I want to add a new layer. So I'm going to pull out my layers so that you can see it. I want to click on the icon for create a new layer. So now layer 1 is on top of the background copy. I want to drag that and put it underneath the background copy, because what I'm going to do is put a solid color inside of this layer so that anywhere it's transparent, that color will bleed through. So I need to come over here to my foreground and background. I want to set these colors to black and white. The way to do that easily, instead of like clicking on, double clicking and then going to the color picker, is to press D for default on your keyboard. And you're going to get a black and white color. If I wanted to switch to white, like I'll do in this particular case, I'll press X on my keyboard, and that X toggles between the foreground and the background color. The next thing I need to do is find my paint bucket. This is my paint bucket tool right here. If you don't see it and you see this gradient tool, that's okay. Click on that, hold down the left click, and then you'll see this these bunch of tools pop up. Choose the paint bucket tool. I'm going to press the white color into the layer 1 layer by just clicking left. And now you notice that white is literally filling in any area and kind of showing up a little bit as it gets to the center, where the center is completely opaque and you don't see the white at all. Let's switch the color. I'm going to press X on my keyboard to toggle my foreground color to black. Get my paint can tool. Again, my layer 1 is selected. Press in black, and you can see how the black really just makes that image selection, the subject of my photo, pop out. This is called a vignette. Now, if I want to save this, notice that I have multiple layers. In order to save this file, if I go to File, Save As, my format is going to be a PSD, a Photoshop document. And this will always be true whenever I have more than one layer. It will automatically want to save as a PSD. So I'm just going to go to my desktop and I'm going to save this as vignette, vignette 1. I'm going to click Save. And now I have a vignette1.psd. Yet, if I wanted to send this to print or upload it onto my website, which we will want to do, you need to make this a JPEG. So the way to do it is File, Save As, and you can then hit this drop down where it says Format, change your format to JPEG, and now you have vignette1.jpg. Click Save. I always like to make my image maximum file size just so that I can have the best quality. Okay, so now, although you don't see the JPEG, you do see still the PSD. If I go to where I save the file, which I saved mine on my desktop, you're going to notice that if I open this up, here's the vignette 1 JPEG. There's only one layer, while the vignette 1 PSD has the multiple layers. So I could get to either one if I needed to. Both of these files are saved. Well, have fun. Try creating your vignette. Bye.